Right away, I felt like you're calling me because just all these people didn't work out. I wasn't the first pick.
I paid my own way there. One lived in Chicago and had a place in Naples.
I don't want you to pay for your way there.
You know?
It's part of us finding out how invested in seeing you that he is.
There has to be lots of places to meet eligible men, but I don't know where they are.
Welcome to Secrets from a Billionaire's Matchmaker with matchmaker Gina Hendrix.
Hey, ladies. Well, good morning. I'm so glad you guys are here with me. So I want to open first. In preparing for this, I like to think about what I want to talk about out of the gate, okay? And this morning, I want to talk about how I see people make one of the biggest early dating mistakes, or just even in general, it's just a mistake in general, to take things personally. And we all do. We're all guilty of it. Let's face it, okay? So, but I've been noticing that just people just think everything's about them and everything is not about you. I promise, because what I see behind the scenes from both men and women is just this eye-opening experience. And it's certainly been the way I've gotten my PhD in all things dating, for sure. So whether it's something somebody says or something somebody doesn't say, a delay in a response, a shift in energy, there's an immediate tendency to go, what does this mean about me? Did I do something wrong? Is this about me? And most of the time, it has very little to do with you. And one of the easiest ways, I will say, to understand this is to flip it, right? Flip it. You guys don't flip the perspective enough. So think about it like this, right? When you didn't respond to somebody right away, you probably got busy. When you weren't fully present, when you changed your mind, you said something that someone else maybe misinterpreted. And in your mind, it probably had nothing to do with them. You weren't thinking, I'm doing this to them. You were just probably busy, distracted, processing something. Maybe something has gone wrong in your world, or maybe there's just somebody else you're more interested in. And that's okay. That's the early days of dating. Yet on the receiving end, it's so easy for someone to turn that into a story about themselves. I see it over and over and over again. And that's what happens, like what I see behind the scenes in dating. People aren't just reacting to what's happening. They're reacting to the meaning they've assigned to it. And when everything gets filtered through, what does this say about me? You lose clarity. Because now you're not actually seeing the situation for what is. You're seeing it through a personal lens. So today, I want to open up that idea. What happens when you stop taking everything so personally and start looking at things more objectively? Okay, now I know that Noreen, I'm going to cue you up to talk to me. So Noreen is my newest rock star. She is so phenomenal. Noreen, can I tell everybody how old you are?
You may. Please do. That's part of my question.
Okay. So Noreen is 70, you guys, but I'm telling you, me and my team of rockstar mentors, they all thought you were in your 50s until I told them. But anyway, go ahead and ask me your question.
Yeah, so my challenge is being 70. I've been single for 5 years. My husband left me for a 29-year-old. So
Oh my.
yeah.
What an
And
idiot.
yeah, very much so. But here I am. And, the challenge of being 70, I'm not really finding men that I'm interested in locally. So they end up being more of long distance relationships. And what happens is I meet with them 3 or 4 times, great honeymoons. And then the two really that I liked in the past, one was young, he was 64. So there was a little age difference there. He divorced on his part. And the other one lived in Chicago. And I just, I have a hard time wanting to get into these long distance relationships. But then again, the number of people, the high caliber men that I'm meeting or online, there aren't that many that I'm interested in. So it's a challenge of location.
Yeah.
And managing these long distance relationships.
Okay. So the guys that you have connected with that were out of town, were they making an effort to see you? Were they either coming in to see you or paying for you to go there, or what was happening?
Very much so. Not paying for me. I always, I paid my own way there, but they paid hotels, beautiful hotels. One lived in Chicago and had a place in Naples, but everything was paid for when I'm with them.
I don't want you to pay for your way there.
No,
No, because
I
you know
just
what I
feel obligated, not obligated, but I feel the pressure when I'm not paying my own way, at least contributing to the
absolutely not. And it's part of him that it's part of us finding out how invested in seeing you that he is. You know what I mean? It's just, I think, one layer of pre-qualifying that's not in place that should be, in my opinion. Any other questions for me right now?
That's it for now.
No, you're not getting away that easy. I've got
Oh
questions
no,
for you. No. So you have what, an identical twin sister?
I do. She's in California.
And is she as gorgeous as you? Like, has she kept herself together like you have?
Better looking.
What? Are you kidding me? Two gorgeous ladies? So how have you managed to stay so gorgeous? Do tell us, because I mean, these ladies
I work
are
at it. I do work at it.
Yeah.
I did weight shoes. I did some trizepatide. I'd lost 30 pounds over 2-year period. I kept it off. And, I guess good genes. And
facelift. Have you had a facelift?
I did have a lift in 2023. The neck was starting to hang. And when I turned my head, and my sister's all about the surgery, she says, Noreen, it's time.
I mean, you are one of the most exceptional women, and I've seen thousands for your age at 70. Well,
Thank you,
even
Gina.
honestly, even a woman in her 50s, you are
Oh my
phenomenal.
gosh, you're so sweet. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Noreen. Talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Nancy. There you go. How you doing, Nancy?
I'm great. So I have a genetic condition that I found out, and it's extremely rare, and it manifests at an older age, at around the age of 60. It does impact kids if they're in the picture, obviously because it's genetic. And I was wondering when is a good time to bring that up.
So first of all, Nancy, I really appreciate you being open and vulnerable enough to bring this up and talk about it. So I applaud you for that, the courage of that. And I have a few questions for you. So how old are you now?
I'm 44. My eggs are frozen. So if you asked me 2 years ago, it was like a deal breaker. I want to have kids. Now I'm like on the fence. I have that as my plan B, just so I don't have that, time bomb, or so I can be more selective with my partners.
And then if you're being totally honest, from 1 to 10, how disappointed would you be if you end up at the end of the day not having kids?
I'm fine with it. Like, depending on the partner I'm with, if he's like a little older and then like ready for early retirement, and then a total different lifestyle, right?
I think what you're faced with here is a few things, right? You froze your eggs. That's great. You're 44. I think it would make your life so much easier in a number of ways, if I'm being honest here, if you sort of focused on men who already had kids and didn't want any more. That in itself would remove such a stressor on so many levels, right? I usually say, you don't even need to really tell somebody about your health challenge until you know if this is going to be something or not. And that's really going to be right maybe about the time somebody's talking about getting exclusive, or maybe date 5 or 6, where it looks like, okay, this might be something, then you can disclose. But I would never disclose any sooner than that. I wouldn't even think about it. And so, I think, Nancy, for you, I would try to focus on men who have kids, don't want any more. And that'll make your life so much easier. And you don't even worry about disclosing it until you're down the road. You know what I mean?
Makes sense. Absolutely. So I guess when things are getting more serious and exclusive,
Yeah.
yes.
When they've earned it, is what I like to say. Nobody deserves to know
Love that.
anybody's, whether it's health challenges or your crazy family or your psycho ex or whatever you got going on in your life that's like not awesome. Nobody deserves to know that until they've really earned the right. Casey, come up to bat with me here, sister.
I just started talking to someone yesterday. We actually messaged yesterday, and we had our first phone call this morning. And at the end of the call, he said, "Yeah, I want to get together." He's like, "How about if we go on a walk this evening?" And I was like, "Oh dear Lord!" I said, "It's like 90 something degrees out." I'm like, I'm not going to get dressed up, do my hair, do makeup, and go on a walk when it's 90 degrees. So I kind of made up an excuse. I said, "Oh well, I have plans tonight, but how about if we do something like Tuesday?" He's like, but he's still like pushing to go on a walk.
He's a
And
low-level loser.
Oh, that's kind of what I thought you were going to say.
Now,
Right.
the only other thing, okay, it is maybe, okay, if we're going to try to give him a benefit of the doubt, like Gina said, give a little wiggle room, because there's no harm in giving wiggle room. The one thing that you could do is the FaceTime with him.
Okay.
Not yet?
No, we have not met.
Because a
No.
lot of times, again, that's what I find. It's like, especially if, let's pretend, because again, I think more of us honestly need to put ourselves in other people's shoes, right? And I'm forced into people's shoes, whether I like it or not, running this business. I'm forced into his shoes and her shoes, and I'm wearing everybody else's shoes. And so let's get in his shoes for a minute and look at it like maybe he's not a low level loser. Okay. I'm going to walk this back, going with the shoe thing. Maybe he's been on a lot of bad dates where women just show up and they don't look like their pictures. And so maybe that's his experience, right? And so a lot of men have gotten burned. So I would say suggest getting on a FaceTime with him. Just say, hey, I was thinking maybe it'd be better, actually, better than a walk would be just see if there's even a vibe, or a connection when we're face to face. And that's how I would handle it.
Okay, that's a good idea. All right, I'll do that,
Because
definitely.
then we find out, is he a low-level loser that just wants to do walks because he's cheap and doesn't want
It's
to spend
cheap.
money?
Right.
Because if
Exactly.
he likes you enough in that video, then he is going to then hopefully make a legitimate, if he's a decent dude, he's going to make a legitimate plan to get together. I mean, even lunch or drinks is better than a walk or coffee.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
All right, I'm going down the list. Hello, Joan.
There's a guy that we met online, and this was 2 years ago. We connected and, we hit it off. He makes these plans and we don't see each other.
There's no try, Joan. You draw your line in the sand and that's it. There's no try.
Well, I did do it. I did. And so now I haven't heard.
Well, right.
So,
That's perfect then.
I guess the question is, I know he will reach out and eventually he will get here.
When you hear from him again and he's just either he comes up and says, hey, here's my trip, here's my itinerary, or he says more like just nonsense that's not like the goal of making a plan, you literally repeat, hey, I'm really intentional these days. I'm intentional these days with my dating. So when you have an actual plan to come and take me out, I would love that, smiley face. Just let me know. Boom. That's it. And then you copy it. And if he comes back with bullshit, you just give him that again and again and again and again, like a broken record, and he'll either step up or step off, Joan.
Yes.
So now you know exactly what you're going to say.
Yes, I wrote it down just so I remember.
Love it. Thank you, Joan.
Okay, thank
you.
you.
Okay. Carlin's next on my list.
It's been a huge dry spell, but I met a guy like organically, saw him like 4 times. We had a great time, terrific connection. Well, that's been about 2.5 weeks, and he has just been so inconsistent. So I sent him a text yesterday, whether I should have or shouldn't, and just kind of said, politely and femininely, this hot and cold just doesn't feel that great to me. And I just want to, be honest about that. And I haven't heard anything.
The writing's on the wall, right? The writing's on the wall. There's nothing you can do to make him more interested. I would have even said to you, had you had asked, and I think you probably already knew what I would say, which is don't send the text, right? Just don't do anything. But now that you sent the message and he gave you nothing, that should be just your clear sign that you need to now just go, okay, well, that's done, and just mentally move on. Good connecting with you.
You too. Thanks.
Thank you. Erin Marie.
I did go on Hinge for a quick minute and I matched. He was this guy in San Francisco. He's a chief revenue officer. He's very good looking, 2 kids, everything checked. And I was like, oh, this is exciting. And he asked me for a date and we agreed to a date. And then I don't know what got into me, but I just Googled him and found his ex-wife, found their divorce records. And I realized he recently is divorced, like under a year. So that's kind of a red flag for me. I wanted to ask about that. And then number 2 is he had a restraining order, domestic violence. His ex-wife filed a domestic violence order against him.
So you did go on a date with him or you didn't?
No, he scheduled a date. And then once I found all this stuff out, I canceled it.
You did. Did you tell him why?
No.
Okay. I mean, and so what's your question for me though? The real question
did I do the right thing by
100%.
canceling?
I mean, I wouldn't worry about how long you'd been divorced necessarily because, when it comes to being legally divorced, they might have been separated a number of years, which means he's dated plenty. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
And usually that's the case if there's money involved. There was no quick separation and divorce. Usually that takes years. But so that wouldn't bug me. But where you're out the door is the domestic violence thing. And again, it might be nothing. We don't know, was she right? Was she wrong? Were they just like both,
It was a temporary restraining order.
right. But which sounds
Sometimes
bad.
can be like a strategy in divorce.
It could be a strategy, exactly, too.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. But it's still, if you're seeing that, I would err on the side of caution because there's more fish in the sea. He ain't the only game in town. So I would just, move along. And I think you 100% made the right call. Absolutely. And what did you end up telling him? Why you couldn't go out with him?
I just said something very simple, like, I've given it some thought and it's not a match for me.
Perfect. I think that's excellent. You did the right thing. Love it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
No, wait, was that your big thing that you needed to ask me?
That was my thing. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm not really I'm not on the then I quit Hinge. Because I was disappointed, And I'm like, I just needed a little more time again.
Erin Marie, you know what I tell everybody, right? It's like you have to look at the dating apps like a slice of the real world. So yeah, you're going to get all kinds of people, gross people, good people, blah, blah, blah. But it's, in my opinion, it's a little silly to not at least keep a footprint there and at least check in on it from time to time. Because if you're not there, then what if the perfect guy showed up and you weren't there to catch it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
Karen, can you talk?
Hi. I keep coming up against this line in the bio of profiles that say they're an open-minded gentleman. What does that mean?
I mean, it's one of those things that's just kind of an open-ended black hole that you don't know what it means. But here's the thing. I wouldn't rule somebody out because they had it. But what I would do, one of my first things, that becomes an easy conversation starter when you start talking to them, to say, hey, I'm so curious. I saw on your profile, you put open-minded. So what does that mean to you exactly? And ask them. They'll tell you. I think that's the best way to play it. I think, what a lot of times, in fact, I would say probably 99% of the time, people just jump to conclusions. And the conclusions are what they just make up in their own head, their own story. And while sometimes, yes, it could be right, I think we always need to give people the benefit of the doubt and the opportunity to at least tell us what they mean by it. So just ask.
Okay. Thank you.
Christine, I'm circling back to you. You there?
I don't want to be unrealistic about my expectations. And I have dated and been in relationships with men that are younger than me, that are not as financially established. And I didn't mind that. But then it got to the point where I felt more like their mom, like I was taking care of them, and they resent me.
Yeah, that's in my book, Stop Being a Bitch, You Get a Boyfriend.
Okay. So then
called the mama bitch, yes.
That's the thing though, because I'm above average as far as my success, and I feel like guys that would be my equal are dating 30-year-olds or 25-year-olds because they can. So where does that leave me? And
it's a really valid question.
Yeah.
I would say that dating younger men, you're always going to find, almost always, that you have more money than they do. That's the trade-off, because then why wouldn't these younger guys be dating somebody their own age, right? I think when it comes to men and, your age range, I think there are men, and I know it because I'm in the business. There are men who want to date women around their own age, and then there are men who are set on dating younger women. That's just a reality. You know what I mean? So I think what you do is you just manage your all comes down to managing your expectations. Manage your expectations. But also your mindset, because if you believe there are no men that are around your age who, don't want to date a woman your age, I think the dream, honestly, for men in, let's say, 50s, is to date a woman who looks like she's in her 40s, but who's not, because then he has the best of both worlds. He has a woman who's going to understand him. You're going to get all the, history stuff and all the pop culture stuff that we were raised with the benefit of being with a woman who looks much younger.
Okay.
So in
Okay.
my world, that's like bing, 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 bing.
Okay, thank you.
So somebody did email me a question. Where are your most successful executive male clients actually meeting women today? And what are the common traits of the women they choose for long-term relationships? So, I mean, I would say, listen, my guys will either hire me, of course, that's how I know them, or they're on the dating apps. They really are. And so when I say, all roads lead to the dating apps, all roads lead to the dating apps. I know people want to go to in-person events. I'm not opposed to going down any and every road. I think you should. I'm never going to be the person that's don't do this, don't do that. Hell, go down every road. I do think that live events is going to just get a little more exhausting. I think if you manage your expectations, you get on the dating apps and you do it the right way, the ways like that I lay out for you. You get on in the mornings, you just look, you put it away. Create a marketing campaign for your dating where all the pictures feel intentional, but not photoshopped, not face-tuned, not fake in any way, and you have an intentional dating profile, then you need to be on the dating apps because they are on there too. And I think the number one thing my guys are looking for, usually in a woman, I mean, it's different for every guy. Every guy has different things they're looking for, but I think, they definitely want a woman who is in a great place financially. She doesn't have to be rich, but she just can't be, financially circling the drain. And she doesn't have a ton of drama in her life, and and she's happy. Don't we all want those three things in a person? You know what I mean? So I think if I had to boilerplate it down, I think I would go with those three things. And let's see if I have any questions. Who is this?
Janua?
Well, welcome. What's your
Yes.
question?
A guy that I dated like in my 20s, and I'm 48 now. He recently reached back out to me and said, you've always been the one, that type of thing. And I can't believe that it took me all these other women to tell you that and to realize that you were the one that gets me. And I guess right away I felt like, ew, you're calling me because just all these people didn't work out. I wasn't the first pick.
So what's the harm in reconnecting? I mean, I wouldn't look at it like, oh, it took you all this time, because you're a totally different person. I'm sure you are, than when you were in your 20s.
Yeah.
He's a totally different. I mean, the likelihood that you guys are even a match now is, I think he is having a moment of nostalgia. And I think, for whatever reason, you probably have always had that place in his mind where he's kind of maybe even romanticized you more than the reality, to be honest. Who knows? But,
Right.
and this might even just be absolutely nothing. You may not have any inkling of interest in him. So I would look at it like it's flattering. I would have looked him up if he looks cute. I think that's what I would look at. If he looks cute, if he looks like he has an interesting life, then I would be flattered and I would open the door and just see, what he did with it.
Right. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. It really
Yeah.
does.
Hey, Amanda, what's going on?
I connected with the guy online, but the one thing that bugs me is his cussing is so bad, and I don't know if I should say something.
Here's the thing, Amanda. He is who he is. You can't, it's not fair to date someone and hope that they're going to be different.
Yeah.
That's not fair. You know what I mean? And it also is just going to make for a rocky road that's unnecessary. So my advice is, I think one of the big things is that women don't pay enough attention, and men too, but don't pay enough attention to these things that are deal breakers for people early in the game. And you think, hey, everything else aligns, and if it's a small but, like, he doesn't go out as much as I do, whatever, then maybe a lot of times men say, well, if I had somebody to go with, I'd go. That's kind of different.
Yeah.
But if it's like innately woven into his whole persona of the cussing, I would say, because it's so early days, I would say he's not the right match for you.
Thank you so much, Gina. Yes, you're awesome. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye. Okay, who else is got a question for me? Eileen, do you have a question?
I am still in my recovery phase from breast cancer.
I'm sorry.
So I'm not out and about doing things. But when I do, I keep thinking in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, there has to be lots of places to meet eligible men. But I don't know where they are. I did treat myself the other night and just went out to a rooftop cinema, watch a movie by myself. But, just to get out and about. But
And are you in
once-
any social groups?
Not really. It's kind of, I thought about that recently because, after your kids grow up and then you move and sell the family house, and then now having cut back on work, I know that's something that I'm lacking.
Well, I think even just starting, maybe checking out meetup.com. Have you ever heard of Meetup?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I've had probably several of my own personal meetup groups that I ran back in the day.
Uh-huh.
I think it's a good way to connect with people. I think I would look into, because if you're telling me your social circle's a little small, I would look
Yep.
into things like even just people who are doing more mellow things, because you can't do a lot right now.
Mhm.
I think I would even just start there.
It seems like once you search for something like that online,
Yeah.
then you get,
So
he
true.
asked 5 for dinner,
Yep,
or
yep, that's
he got
true. Yeah,
6
that's
for
true.
whatever.
Very,
And
very
I don't
true.
know if those are any good.
I'm glad you brought that up, Eileen, about the just 5 for dinner. I get those
Yeah.
advertisements too. My guess, just knowing what I know, is
Uh-huh.
it's probably mostly all women.
Right.
Because that's usually what it all comes down to. Almost all women, or
Mhm.
a few like kind of dorky men that women aren't even interested in. But I still say for you, go.
Uh-huh.
Why not?
Uh-huh.
There is no downside, really.
Uh-huh.
Spending a little money, spending a little time. That's not,
Right.
to me, that's not a big
Uh-huh.
downside. So I would
Okay.
do it if I were you.
Okay. I will try that and I
Okay.
will report back.
Please report back. Thanks, Eileen.
Okay.
Talk
Thanks.
to you later. Hey, Jen.
I live in a smaller coastal town on the East Coast, and I've been divorced about 5 years. I'm 52. So I kind of feel like I've gone through some of the rhythms of it and was on the apps. And then for the past year, I've definitely taken some time off. I have been working on eye contact. I've been working on quote unquote, dropping the handkerchief. But then, I'm also kind of dumb sometimes. Like, am I doing the right things? And I passed it by one of my guy friends. I go, hey, I have interest in this guy. He's a little more blue collar. I'm in software sales and very, have my own success. How do you let the right people know? Because then there was
How do you know the blue collar guy?
He redid my bathroom, but we also have mutual friends, which is how I met him.
Hang on, what was the advice your guy friend gave you?
Well, I said, when he was in the house and he was doing the work, which was over a year ago, I put my hand on the small of his back. I complimented him. I invited him to stay for a drink, just trying to be polite with other people around. I said, hey, I have some people coming over, would love for you to stay. And that was a year ago. And a bunch of my friends are like, he's probably keeping it very professional. Well, I started going to a new church and he happens to go there and we sat right behind me. And my girlfriend is like, that's not an accident, Jen. He could have sat anywhere.
I would say this is literally going to be the opposite advice that I give you ladies when the men ask, but it's what falls into my mind. And I think because it seems so harmless. Now, I know I'm being a hypocrite here, but who cares? We're all hypocrites about things. I would say I would invite him to a coffee because it's so harmless. I do want to say, Jen, and I think that this will help a lot of ladies too. Again, it is the opposite advice that I give. I say when men ask, don't, but we're doing it more because it's more of a, like what you said, like a drop the handkerchief, but it's more like modern day drop the handkerchief, right? And I think men should be doing more than this. But I think if you want to drop the handkerchief and be very clear, then you say, hey, great to see you, whatever you said, like you said. But then at the end of it, you need to say, I thought it might be fun to grab a coffee or tea sometime and chat. Let me know if you're, let me know.
And just do it.
It's hard.
Yep. What's the worst that'll happen?
There is no downside.
Correct.
Other than maybe a little ego bruising. But otherwise, you're not necessarily giving the clearest signal quite yet.
Okay. Well, and yes, thank you. Thank you.
All right. Layla, are you there?
I am. How are you?
I'm great. What's going on with you?
Well, I don't really have any questions, but I did have a comment.
Okay.
The one lady was looking to get out there and you were talking about meetup groups. I've done that. And meetups were really, really good when I first was up here in Idaho. And I used to do a couple when I was in Texas as well, right after my husband passed, just so that I could get out of the house and do something different. It's a way for you to engage in a conversation, both with men and women, with no pressure whatsoever.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I'm so glad that you showed up here today.
I am too. Thanks.
All right, ladies, anyway, you're all fabulous. Keep your standards high. That's going to take us out for today. I want you all to have a beautiful, beautiful week. Manage your mindset. That controls everything you do. And then also, like I opened the show with, I'm going to close it. Don't take things as personal because it's usually not even about you. It's about other things they have going on in their life. And at the end of the day, life is all about timing. All right, you're brilliant. You're amazing. You're gorgeous. Keep your standards high. And I will talk to you very soon.
Want to keep up with more of Gina's advice? Follow her on TikTok and Instagram at matchmaker Gina Hendrix or visit her matchmaking website, ginahendrix.com.